probably won't have to wait. You probably won't have to wait 100 years for that. That's what you describe is something called the opting out law. It exists in many countries, and they have a law whereby everybody is assumed to be an organ donor unless they opt out. Now, we considered this in this country 2 years ago, and we decided the evidence does not support that. However, Gordon Brown, who was Prime Minister at the time, did say that if we didn't achieve a 50% increase in organ donors in 5 years, he would want whichever government was in power to review that decision. So we might move to opting out sooner than you think.
So I want to talk about hope in this area, a difficult area. And I want to talk about some new developments in the last few years, which are fact now. The first one is the Organ Donation Task Force, which has been mentioned a number of times by people here, that it's a 5-year challenge which we have set ourselves to say that we increase donations by 50%. We're in the 3rd year of that task force work, and in the first 2 years we increased donations by 19%. So that's excellent news, but my concern is that as we get into difficult financial situations and so on, whether that trend will continue and whether we'll hit that 50% target. That's the first thing. The second thing is about the number of donors. So we've all talked about, and Coach has been talking extensively and doing excellent work in getting more donors. We made some success on that. I think in the last 2 years, the number of donors, people who have those cards, has gone up by 1 million people, from 16 million to 17 million people. So it's not a small number, it's a huge number. So despite concerns about faith and all those sorts of things, number of people who are actually now saying, yes, I do want to be on that register, is increasing, and we need to do more to get people from black and minority ethnic communities to be donors, as we've heard. Third thing I want to say is a practical one. If somebody is being a donor, when my wife had the operation, it is quite a major operation. But nowadays, you can have operations using what's called keyhole surgery. You can take a kidney out by keyhole surgery. So the operation is much smaller.
As a community leader, and I am here today, and I have heard, and I am going to discuss at a later date with the organizers of this event to have another event coming up in March 2011, so that we can start to preach the gospel to our communities.
Sure, my name is Gert Trandauer. I'm Professor of Diversity and Public Health and Director of the Institute for Health Research at the University of Ebemrc.
How much research would you say has been put into this idea of organ donation?
Well, I think the whole issue about organ donation and the need for organs amongst the British population has been researched extensively for the last 20-25 years. The key issue is that over 10,000 people are waiting for a transplant in this country. Nearly 1,000 people a year die waiting for a transplant. And one of the things about today is that 1 in 4 people waiting for a transplant are from the Asian or African Caribbean background. We only make up 1 in 12 of the population. And one of the key reasons we require transplants more than most people is that Asians and African Caribbeans have higher rates of diabetes, higher rates of blood pressure, which lead to kidney disease. So an Asian or an African Caribbean is 6 times more likely to be diabetic than a white person. And once you're diabetic, an Asian or African Caribbean diabetic patient is nearly 10 times more likely than a white diabetic to then get kidney disease. And then people who have kidney failure only then have 2 choices, either dialysis or transplantation. And the research shows that white patients on average wait about 2 years for a transplant, whereas an Asian or African Caribbean, if they receive a kidney transplant, wait at least 4 years. So that's twice as long. But the key issue is they are waiting longer because only 3% of the donor pool in this country is made up of non-whites. That means 97%, the majority of donors are white people, and because of tissue type and blood group matching being so important for a successful transplant, it's really, really important that people from every ethnic group contribute to the donor pool. So we need events like today to make sure that people from every community are aware about the need for organ donation. So we all access information in different ways. For example, some people might look at the media, some people might go to community events, other people might go to religious events, other people might use, I don't know, the website, Facebook, Twitter, other people might be more used to following role models, celebrities, sports stars. Whatever avenue there is of engaging with the public, we must do it so that everybody knows why there is such a shortage of organ donors in this country, and most importantly, everybody has an opportunity to become an organ donor.
There's been a brain behind the event that we've all witnessed here today. I'm talking about no other but Dr. Igwisi Osaru, who is the director, Essex Black and Ethnic Minority Research Center here in the United Kingdom. He's right in front of the camera now to quickly give an overview of the entire event. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for what you've been up to since.
Thank you very much for this moment. Now, the organization of which you are the director, tell us, what's been the reason for organizing events such as this today?
Well, Essex Black and Ethnic Minority Research Center was set up to research into problems and problems which the ethnic people face in Essex County. We have been looking at research work from different perspectives, researching into BME employment possibilities, training, development, and this event of organ donation awareness came about because of one of our colleagues who had renal failure 5 years ago, suffered a lot and eventually got a transplant in April. And so that was the beginning of our looking at the organ donation and transplant issue. And we decided to organize this workshop in order to create awareness among the Black and ethnic minority of the seriousness of the problem and why we should be educated towards knowing the problems and finding solutions in order to save life, because the Black and ethnic minority people tend to suffer more than the mainstream people.